So here we go. All right. Cool. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our first episode of our Pro Tips webinar series. And so before we really get into the actual topic today, which is our pop-up section, wanted to give you guys an idea of what this webinar series is going to entail and a little bit of background on it. So without further ado here, the Pro Tips webinar series, the idea is we're going to give you some short 30-minute or less webinars that are more kind of like deep dives on some of the specific modules that we have in our Gallus Golf apps. We're going to take some time to give you guys some examples and really try to just inspire you. We have a lot of apps, as you can imagine, and we see all sorts of different kind of techniques and great ideas that people are using our apps for to really engage their customers and make the experience better when they get to their facility. So I want to share those with you, and who knows, maybe you'll actually hear something that you want to use and implement in your own app. Like I said before, we are going to be recording every single one of these webinars. They're going to be every other week, bi-weekly, basically, once every 2 weeks. So if you can't make it to one of the webinars, no worries at all. We'll be shooting out that recording. You can watch it at your leisure that way too. The idea here is we just want to be available to you if you want to ask some specific questions. And Matt's actually going to be sharing through the chat window a couple of links that are resources for you guys. There's going to be an article to our, or a link to our knowledge base article that goes really into like the nuts and bolts of like how this Popups module works. But also he's going to share a booking link that you can use to book a meeting with him in case you want to maybe talk about your app specifically and get some examples as well. So without further ado here, let's take a look at what our agenda is for today.
And Kyle, I also included the link to this slideshow right now. So if you want to follow along or download this for later, I included that one as well. So
good call. Good call. All right. So our agenda for today is we're first going to talk about some background on our Popups module, really just kind of give you a good foundation on what's it capable of, what you can kind of use it for. And then we're going to go into some actual specific examples. We're going to break it down into the app open Popups and the scorecard and GPS ones, a couple of creative ideas there. We'll also give you some kind of out of the box ideas that we have on some kind of creative ways you can use this to your advantage. Then we'll talk a little bit about the importance of links in Popups. And if we have some time at the end, we'll do a little bit of a Q&A. So you'll notice there is a Q&A box, should be on the left side of your screen. If you think of any questions, feel free to throw it in there. We'll be responding to them as the webinar goes on. We'll take some time at the end just to kind of verbalize them and maybe go in a little more detail there. So first things first, let's go into some background here. What is a pop-up? Pop-ups are in-app messages that you can set up in your back-end dashboard. They open based on a user's specific action in your app. So what does that mean? Really, we're going to break it down into 4 pieces of content that you can set up in these pop-ups. Number 1, you're going to be able to upload a picture. So as you can see on the example on the left there, you can upload an image. It can be a JPEG or a PNG file. You can also add in a title that would be become a member in this specific example. You can also add some body text to it, which would be the smaller text below. Give us whatever information that you want to put into the pop-up. And then lastly, you can put a call to action link at the bottom. That's where it says learn more. So going back to the user's action in the app, where can these be displayed? They can really be displayed in 2 main areas, if you will. One is on app open. So these pop-ups can appear whenever someone opens your app just before they see the home screen. It's really great. We'll go into some detailed kind of examples, but it's great for if you have some sort of an announcement that you want to get out or anything like that, because before they can do anything else in your app, they're first going to have to see that app open pop-up and interact with it before they can move on. The other spot that you can do it is in between holes in the scorecard and GPS. These, once again, we'll go into some examples here in a second, but in general, you're going to be able to put them in between certain holes, like in between holes 7 and 8, for instance. So the user will be keeping score in the scorecard and GPS section. They enter their strokes. Before they can see the next hole, they'll see that app overlay message that you're creating here with these pop-ups. So there's a couple of optional features that you can also set up. These are kind of like bonus point things, if you will. Number one, you can set them for a specific time period. So you can set, excuse me, if you can say basically, I only want this to display from this day to this day, or from this time to this time, something of that nature. You can also only show an app open pop-up every X number of times someone opens the app. So for instance, you can say, I only want to show this pop-up to a specific user every 3 times that they open the app, so that they're not seeing it every single time, but they're periodically getting reminded of whatever the message is. Last thing you could do is you could put a user dismiss. So you'll see in that example on the left, at the very bottom where it says do not show again, that's where the user can hit that checkbox, and we're not going to show that message to them anymore. So that works very well if you're trying to announce maybe like an event that's coming up, or something that they only need to just see once. They don't necessarily need to see it every single time, or even every 5 times that they open the app. You just want them to be able to kind of see it and then dismiss it. So with that being said, I'm going to actually turn it over to Matt here. He's going to give you some specific examples of how you can use these pop-ups within your app, give you some ideas. So Matt, take it away.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kyle. So to start with the app open messages, one thing that Kyle had mentioned was how you can set the number of times you're going to allow people to see these pop up. One thing I've noticed with some clubs is, the more often that you're going to update this app open, whether it's, every day, every couple days, once a week, you can set that as less times, every 1 time or every 2 or 3 times. Whereas if you're not going to update it, say you're only going to update it once a month because you just don't need to or don't have the time to, maybe set that to higher numbers, like 7, 8, or 9 times. So that way you don't have to go and update it as frequently. So you can set that depending on how often you feel like you're going to update it for yourself. So that's just a nice little tip. I've seen that helps with the app open one specifically there. So there are a couple different ones here. Kyle's going to kind of run through 4 basic ones that we're going to have pop up here. One is the most obvious. It's just an upcoming event, kind of like he talked about before. Any event that you have coming up, whether it's a Christmas lunch or brunch that you have coming up, a tournament or an outing, member specific event versus public event, anything you want to have here, this is great to also include a link to be able to register for that event, or go right to a Facebook page that you already have information about that event on your Facebook page, so they can interact and say that they're going to come to that event there. So this is just another place to get this in front of people. Not just their email is going to go right on top of their phone when they open up that app before they can get into your home screen. So that is one great thing. Another thing that a lot of courses use for is course maintenance. You can use this for whether you have your cart path only that day, whether you are using it for like you have a hole that has something going on with it that you need to make people aware of. This is just a great place so that people, when they first open the app, you can use it there. The course maintenance is great also when you open the app on the scorecard, but sometimes, you just want to really make sure people are aware of what's going on with that course, and including a photo is a great idea so that they know exactly which hole when they get there. But then also loyalty or offers reminders, letting people know that, hey, we have this great loyalty program, and, if you for every dollar you spend in the pro shop, you get a point, or whatever you guys have set up for your own loyalty, whether it's through our system or your own, just to remind them about it, to just get them to come in and sign up for it. Same thing with the offer locker that we have through the app itself, to remind them about, hey, we have these offers that are sitting in there waiting for you to use. A lot of clubs set up offers, onboarding offers that are sitting in the app when the people download them. And if they don't use them right away, they may forget about them. So this is a great place to highlight those and just remind them to go check out the offer locker. You can have that button go directly to the offer locker so that they can open that up right away instead of just going straight into the home screen as well. So there's a couple different offers there. But then also one of the best things I've seen is enabling push notifications. And like a lot of clubs say, well, yeah, we have a lot of people that have opted out of push notifications. How do I get them to sign up for that? One way of doing that is, in your email blasts, when you're talking about the app in general, just remind people when they do download it that it's important to enable them so they get the most up-to-date news around the club, that they'll get the most up-to-date information, whether it's course conditions or anything else you're sending out. But to have them remind them to all the people that don't have them enabled, hey, go ahead and enable them. It helps make sure that you get up-to-date news. You're going to get just stuff that you want to hear about, and just highlight that so maybe they can go in and go into their own settings of their phone and re-enable those for you. So that's just another great place to do that. Also, if you've ever set up customer ID fields, if you had ID fields where you have, maybe it's for what type of golfer you are, whether you're a member, non-member, social member, whatever it may be in that sense, a lot of people don't know how to go and update that. So if you just say, hey, go to the My Profile section and make sure that you've selected the right type of golfer, so that way you're going to get only the news that you want to see. This is a great way, especially if you've added this after you've set up your app initially, which some clubs do. It's a great way to go back and get all the people that have had the app to go in and update that to make sure it's correct. So just a great place to kind of put any of that information up front for people. So that is on app open, we like to call. Now we're going to get into some scorecard and GPS messages. So this is more specific to actually golfers. So, the other one, the on app open, can work for, non-golfers if you have, at your club, other things, tennis or other parts of the, you have anything else that you have going on at the club. These are going to be more specifically for people that are actually on the golf course, but it's a great way to reach them because they're actually physically on your course playing the game right there. So one of the first one that we're going to do is food and beverage reminders. Probably the most common app pop-up I see in most apps. And it's, the easiest one to really set up. You can just set these up and kind of forget about it. Don't have to change it anytime. Is the reminder about ordering food on the turn, whether it's between holes 7 and 8, 8 and 9, both. It basically just have a pop-up and it can link right to your food menu. And if you already have either our on tap food ordering system where you can order food right through the app, or any other system similar to that, you can have it linked directly to that as well, so they can actually order the food and have it ready for them to pick up when they get to the turn. Or if you have food delivery on course, it's a great place to have reminders about that you can order food right through the app and they can get it delivered on course. So those are just easy ones. A lot of these are going to be kind of basic ones that you can just set and forget. So a lot of people, don't want to have to go and update the apps on a regular basis, which I totally understand. Everybody's busy. So a lot of these ones are ones you set up one time and you shouldn't have to update unless either you update your menu. But if you update your menu, it should automatically update in here. But then a lot of these other ones, you really shouldn't have to update all that often. The app open one, yes, I would update that on a regular basis. But these ones are ones you're not really going to have to all that often unless you really need new content in there. So one is a great one is to book a lesson. A lot of people like to put these at the end of the round. Maybe say, hey, having a bad round, book a lesson with us. And you can even include a booking link, sort of like the link I'm going to include at the end of this, so that you can book a time with me. It just basically finds any open time on my calendar and automatically books it for you. You can then do that. There's a lot of different programs out there, some of which are free, a lot of which are very cheap. Some are, there's one called Acuity that's, I believe, $14 a month that lets you connect directly with your calendar, whether it's Google or Outlook or whatever, and automatically syncs and does everything for you. You can include a link for multiple different people, multiple different types of bookings, whether it's, an hour lesson, 30-minute lesson, all that kind of stuff. So club fittings, anything you want there. These are great if you already have those set up on your website. Another just place to link it directly to your website to have them book right there as well, or even just include your email or phone number for them to text or call you with. It's another great place to talk about that. At the end of the round, replay opportunities. Replay opportunities are a great way anytime after hole 16 or at the very end of the round to remember, hey, you want to play again, come in, show us that you use the app to score and get a discount next time. Even if you just want to say come into the pro shop at the end, you can get a voucher for a discount for next time if you see this. Just another way to get people to, kind of encourage them to come back. It's a great way. They've already used your app, the whole time throughout the round. They have hopefully liked it. And if they do, they hope to come back to you. That's the whole point. And then another great one that I've seen a lot, and the clubs like to use this more. You don't always have to have this in there, but on a certain time of year or just whenever you think you're going to be busiest, it's good to have end of round survey. End of round surveys are easy to set up. You can use multiple different types, whether it's SurveyMonkey, Google Forms. There's a lot of free ones out there where you can set up a survey that's basically a cloud-based one. We put that at the bottom next to where it says View Menu on this screen. It can say Start Survey, and basically pulls up the survey, puts everything all in one place for you. They can be 2 questions, 20 questions, whatever you want to set up. But this is a great way to get feedback directly from people who have just played your course. So setting this between 17 and 18 or at the very end of the round is a great place to put this. You can also include these surveys, right on the home screen of your app. But this is just a better way to get people that actually actively played at your course to use this. So those are some of the more basic ones for this scorecard. Now I'm going to kind of talk to ones that are a little bit more outside the box. Not everybody's going to use these ones. The other ones we've talked about, pretty common to be able to use those in almost any course, whether it's public or private. These ones are going to be more specific depending on how you're going to be using them. So we're going to jump into these ones real quick. One of the most common ones I've seen is using this now for whole sponsors. As Kyle had mentioned, we can use these for both time restraints, whether it's a time period in a certain day. So you can have it start at 3 p.m. and end at 6 p.m. on one day. And you can also have it end, on the 1st and end at the 31st of the month. So you can set the date and the time when it pops up and when it ends. So you can have whole sponsors for tournaments. You can have tournament specific pop-ups that people have asked us for a very long time. We finally now have the ability to do that. So you can set these up for a tournament, have them automatically turn off the next day, so you don't have to go back in and do it yourself. And then you can save them and turn them back on again for another time if you're going to use the same sponsors. But then a lot of clubs also use whole sponsors throughout the whole year. Some clubs I've seen do, just a couple throughout the round, 3 or 4 for local businesses, other vendors that they use on a regular basis. And a couple clubs, they use them for every single hole. And they sell, you can sell them anywhere from $500 to $1,200 to $2,000 a year, and really make money through the app just in sponsorships for all your holes. And you can give them data on how many rounds of play throughout the year, so people actually know how many looks they're going to get and how much usage they're getting out of it. Another great one is local charities. If you have a charity set up either through that you're close to, or you near and dear to your heart, you can set up ones that link directly to the charity's website, so they can download go right to their website and put in money, donate money that way, or an event that's coming up that maybe the charity's doing, even if it's not at your golf course, or if it is. But that's just another great way to kind of not just have everything about making money, but another way to kind of help out your local community as well. And another thing, we've kind of touched on this, but just really saving templates that you can use at a later time. And these are great because you can set up, during your off season, during this time when it's a little bit slower, save some with uploading the pictures that you want to use, whether they're, your brand specific pictures or anything in general that you're going to be maybe use on a regular basis. Save them in there with no triggers so they won't pop up right now. And all you have to do is go in and activate them at this right time, and by adding the trigger when you need them. One really easy one that I see a lot of clubs using is cart path only. You're not always cart path only, but the days that you are going to be cart path only, you basically, all you have to do is go and activate that trigger, have it set, and once you're not cart path only, delete it. Have it pop up on when the round starts, so it reminds people to stick to the cart paths, and then you just delete the trigger, but save it in there to use it a future time. So templates are great because you can do all the work now during the slower season and have them ready for when you're busy, not have to do as much work. All you have to do is activate it. Now, recognition. This is one that I've seen a lot more just recently because a lot of clubs trying to get more member involvement, get more kind of camaraderie within their club, whether it's members or public play as well. People love to be recognized. Show that, if you're out there playing a lot, they want to know that you're the best player of the month, whether you play the most rounds, you had the most birdies, you had a hole in one on this hole. Just putting a recognition, say, hey, John Smith had a hole in one on this hole back in January 1st. Congrats to John. That goes a huge way for, to see, hey, wow, John had a hole in one. I had a hole in one once. They should promote me on this, or, whatever it may be, recognition goes a long way to get people to feel special and come back to your club over and over again. Because this is the goal, is to really, get people to come back and play your club more and really feel special about being there. So this is one that I've seen work really well. Especially if you had a tournament, whoever won the tournament, whether it's the end of year tournament or just some big tournament you had, or somebody that had the best round of the month. You can even link it to your leaderboard that goes right to see, who's winning that leaderboard that month, so that you can try to challenge people to be the best with our monthly tournament series that we have built in, or just your own custom leaderboard. So lots of opportunity there to do something kind of more outside the box. And now I'm going to talk, have Kyle talk about links, which are super important. I'm going to kick it back to you, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. A lot of good ideas there. As we're experiencing with the pop-ups, there are a lot of different options for things that you can use just for messaging. Obviously, when people see the pop-up in the app, they can read the text that's on there, which will give them information. But the big question is, what do you want them to do next? Maybe you see maybe the user goes in and they see that there's a end of round survey opportunity. Okay, well, now you want to actually send them to that survey so that they can get right in there, answer the questions, and get out. Because otherwise, what you're doing is you're really just relying on them to find it, which, as we know, sometimes users need to be led a little bit more than that. So that link at the bottom is vital. It's crucial to what you're using these pop-ups for. I can't emphasize it enough. So like on this one, it's where it says 3 questions down at the bottom in red right there. So as I mentioned, without this link, you're really leaving the user to their own devices to figure out where they should go. What you want to do is you want to give them a nudge and point them to whatever the logical next step is going to be. So just to give you guys some ideas here, maybe it's an F&B ordering link for that food and beverage message just before the turn. Maybe it's an event registration page that you have set up on a separate platform, and you just want to plop that URL right in there to make it easy for them. How about your booking engine? Maybe it's towards the end of the round and you want to give them the opportunity to book their next tea time, something like that. Or we've mentioned survey quite a few times. You could just link it directly to a survey monkey, or maybe like a Google form or something of that nature. We also provide some built-in links as well to just kind of simplify it for you. So there's a couple that I wanted to go over here. Number one, you could go to your menu, your F&B menu, whatever's built into your app, whether it be our on-tap system or if you have like a view-only menu, something of that nature. You can also go to your tea time booking link directly through there. You don't have to find it or anything like that. A custom leaderboard maybe, or a tournament leaderboard, something of that nature. Or as we mentioned before, you can take them to any custom URL that you want as well. So you really want to just take a look at what the content of the pop-up is, and you want to think about, what do I want them to do next? Where do I want them to go? And then put that in the link. Oh, I also Facebook share. You can take that too if you want to maybe get some more downloads as well. So with all this being said, now you guys have some ideas, you have some inspiration. It's time to act on it. We've given you guys some resources. Matt's gonna, those links are in that Q&A section for our knowledge base article, which has a step-by-step guide and also a video very much like this one that you're watching right now, just to take a look at how do I set these up. But maybe you want some more help from us. We're always happy to do so. You can click that link below to book a review call with us, and we'll walk through your app specifically. Any ideas that you have, we will help you get it done. We're here as a resource for you, so please don't hesitate to do so if you want to. And then Matt also included a link to the next webinar. The next one of these pro tips webinar series is going to be featured news, I believe. So we're going to go over that featured news section. We've enhanced it over the past couple of months, talk about some of the really, really great ideas and uses for it that you can kind of get started with now, so that when you're in your season, you have a little bit of a process to get those set up and everything. So you can click that link to register. we'll also send that out over through an email as well. So just looking in the Q&A section, doesn't look like we have any questions in there currently, but as we mentioned, we have plenty of resources for you guys if you want to get some help. I mean, pick your poison here. If you want to go to our knowledge base and kind of self-serve and find some answers for yourself, you can just go to support.gallusgolf.com. You can also just shoot us an email to support@gallusgolf.com, and we will get to you quickly here. If you want to call us, there's our number right there on the screen. And there's also anywhere in our dashboard or our knowledge base or anything, there is a chat window. Maura asked, are there embedding options for surveys/forms? So to answer your question, when you're setting up a pop-up, you can't embed it directly within the pop-up. We typically direct to that call to action link at the bottom so that we can kick out to an in-app browser. It provides a better experience, and it helps assure that there aren't any formatting issues or anything like that. Yeah. And then, yeah, excellent question on that. And then Brian asked, when they fill out the survey, is there a way to have their name go into a draw? Yeah, absolutely. So whatever survey software that you set up with, it's going to provide you with a way to export it to like a spreadsheet or something like that. From there, it's up to you how you want to do your randomized draw. You can either assign each person that responded a number, and then there's plenty of free randomizers on the internet or anything like that. But we can help you out with that.
We'll actually get into in one of our other sections coming up about the offer locker. There's a way to use the offer locker now as more of a kind of a draw survey or random drawing platform as well. So we'll get to that once we get to offer locker, kind of leaving that open for you guys. So
that's a tease, is what that is.
Yeah, it's exactly. Tease. Yes.
All right. So, listen, everyone, thank you so much for coming. As always, we appreciate your business, and we love getting to work with all of you. So don't hesitate to reach out to us. We always love to talk with our customers and hear some of their great ideas and help you guys implement them in your apps. So look out for that next webinar, and we will talk to you then. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks you guys so much. Appreciate it.